Here is the complete rewritten script, fully adapted to a United States-Mexico border setting, a small town in South Texas near the Rio Grande, with natural bilingual touches, cultural details, and realistic border region flavor. All promotional headings and calls to action have been removed as requested. It was one of those South Texas mornings when the air felt thick enough to chew, the kind that stuck to your skin long before the sun climbed high. Evan Malone wiped the sweat from his forehead with a red shop rag while he tightened the last bolt on an old Chevy Silverado in his little garage just outside Laredo. His hands were scarred and stained black from years of turning wrenches, but his heart had stayed soft, especially after Maria died 2 years back and left him to raise their boy Noah on his own. That afternoon, heading home on Farm Road 1472 with the radio playing old corridos low, Evan spotted something that made his stomach drop. A tiny girl stumbled out of the brush near the river levee, barefoot, pink dress ripped and caked with dust, dark hair tangled like she'd been running through mesquite for hours. He slammed on the brakes, tires spitting gravel. She couldn't have been more than 7, clutching a beat-up teddy bear, eyes wide with terror. Evan killed the engine and stepped out slow, palms open so he wouldn't scare her worse. "Tranquilita, mija," he said softly. "No te voy a hacer daño, ¿estás bien?" She froze, then whispered in Spanish, "No encuentro a mi mama." Tears cut clean tracks down her dusty cheeks. Her little feet were torn up from the thorns. Evan's heart cracked right open. He grabbed a bottle of water from the truck, helped her into the passenger seat, and turned the AC on full blast. Between gulps she told him her name was Lela. He drove straight to the Webb County Sheriff's substation. They took the report, but no missing child alert matched her name or description yet. When it was time for Evan to leave, Lela grabbed his arm with both hands and begged, "Por favor, no me dejes aquí." Something in her voice sounded exactly like Noah the first nights after the funeral. After a long talk and a promise to check in every hour, the deputy let Evan take her home just for the night. That evening his little cinderblock house filled with a kind of life it hadn't known in years. Noah, 6 going on 7, took one look at Lela and declared her his new best friend. They raced matchbox cars across the linoleum while Evan boiled spaghetti and heated up salsa his neighbor Dona Rosa had brought over. Lela told them, piece by piece, that her mama had left her with a woman she didn't know at a motel in Nuevo Laredo, said she'd be right back, and never came. Then people started yelling, guns went off outside, and Lela ran until she crossed the river somehow and just kept running. Evan couldn't sleep that night. Something felt wrong, bigger than a mother forgetting her kid. Next morning, 2 black suburban SUVs with CDMX plates rolled into the shop yard like they owned the place. Men in dark suits and earpieces scanned the place while a woman stepped out of the second vehicle. Tall, heels that had no business on gravel, white blouse crisp even in the heat. She looked like she belonged in a glass tower, not on the edge of the Rio Grande. She held up a photograph to the cashier. "Han visto a esta nina?" "Her name is Lela Hartley." Evan's knees nearly buckled. He walked over, wiping his hands on the rag that never quite got them clean. "She's with me," he said in English, then switched to Spanish when he saw the panic in the woman's eyes. "Ella está bien. Está conmigo." The woman's composure shattered. She brought both hands to her mouth, tears spilling instantly. "Gracias a Dios," she choked out. Her name was Vivian Hartley, CEO of Hartley Innovations, one of the most powerful Latina entrepreneurs in North America. Her late husband had been American. They'd split time between Mexico City and San Francisco. What a billionaire was doing losing her daughter across the border in a flashpoint cartel town didn't make sense until she explained, voice breaking. Her assistant had betrayed her, taken Lela as leverage in a corporate kidnapping scheme tied to a hostile takeover. Vivian had been tearing apart 2 countries looking for her little girl. Private security, federals, even the DEA. Nobody had found a trace until a dusty mechanic on the Texas side picked her up on the side of the road. She met Lela in the driveway. The girl ran past her mother's open arms and threw herself at Evan first, hugging his legs like he was the only solid thing left in the world. Only then did she let Vivian scoop her up, both of them sobbing into each other's necks. For the next week Vivian stayed in Laredo, working with authorities on both sides of the river. Every day she came to the house. Lella refused to leave Noah's side, and little by little Vivian stopped fighting it. She sat on the porch drinking café da olla from Donna Rosa's pot, watching the kids chase gallinas around the yard, the weight of the world sliding off her shoulders one quiet evening at a time. One night after the kids were asleep, she found Evan on the porch staring at the river lights across the border. "I thought money could protect me from everything," she said in perfect English laced with a soft Chilango accent. "Private schools, bodyguards, homes on 2 continents. And in one afternoon I almost lost the only thing that ever mattered." Evan didn't have fancy words. He just said, "She's home now. That's what counts." Vivian looked at him for a long moment. "You gave me back my daughter, Evan. But you also showed me what family actually looks like when the cameras and the money are gone." When it was time to go, Lella clung to Noah and made him pinky swear they'd see each other again. Vivian handed Evan an envelope. "Open it later," she said, voice thick. Inside was a check big enough to make a grown man sit down hard on the kitchen floor, and a letter. "Some things can't be paid for with money. You showed me kindness has no price tag and no border. I'm opening a new foundation, vehicles and training for families who've lost everything to violence or deportation. I want you to run the Texas side. Housing provided. Noah can go to one of the best schools in San Antonio. And if you ever want to visit Mexico City, my home is yours. You didn't just save my daughter, Evan. You saved me too. Vivian." A month later Evan and Noah moved into a little house with a yard big enough for a tire swing on the north side of San Antonio. He spent his days fixing cars for widows and single moms, teaching teenagers how to rebuild engines and rebuild lives. Lella came every other weekend with her mom, running through the door yelling "Gia leg," like she'd never left. And some evenings, when the sky over the hill country turned orange and gold, Vivian would sit on the porch steps next to Evan, boots off, feet in the grass, watching their kids play like any other family. She'd lean her head on his shoulder and whisper, "You found us both on that road, Evan." And for the first time in years, the Texas heat didn't feel so heavy anymore.